Roger, how are you? Well, you never guess what I've just heard. Apparently, Kyle Barbeau is going to be speaking to the boys at James Bond Club Ireland. Well, he'll be talking about his Instagram account, easy smiles and expensive watches, as well as his podcast that he's doing with Joe Darlington and Ray from the Bond Armory. He's also talking about drinking Guinness. Well, that's enough to get me hooked. Will you be listening?
Well, Sean, I've never visited the Emerald Isle, but I understand that Guinness goes down like mother's milk. I'm quite excited to hear Mr. Barbeau speak on the James Bond Club Ireland podcast, whatever podcast is, and hear what he has to say about James Bond, reviews without remorse, and easy smiles and expensive watches. Ciao.
All right, welcome everyone to this episode of James Bond Club Ireland podcast. And today we've got a really cool guest with us. It is Kyle Barbeau. Welcome, Kyle.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, I am pronouncing your surname correctly, am I?
Yes, very good.
Okay, very good. And may I ask where it comes from? I think I asked you this before.
Somewhere along the line, a French Canadian got in there and mixed in with the English and the German and the Irish.
It does sound very kind of exotic. I mean, I hope you lean in and do things like, my name is Barbeau, that kind of thing. Anyway, look, Monsieur Barbeau, yeah, that's a villain waiting to happen. So listen, you run a well-known Instagram account, Easy Smiles and Expensive Watches. It's got like over 3,000 followers. That's why we're having you on. We just want to poach your followers.
You need to bump up the followers.
Yeah. Clocking up the likes, buddy. But yeah, what? First of all, so tell us a little bit about your background. What got you into Bond? What made you start becoming part of the community? What made you want to do all of that?
So I've been into Bond pretty much as far back as I can remember. Going back to when I was a young lad, and TBS, which is an American cable station, used to do 15 days of 007 at the end of the year. It was usually end of November, running through until almost Christmas time. So I caught License to Kill, I caught Thunderball, I caught The Spy Who Loved Me. Those were early ones that I remember seeing on TV. And then what really pushed me over the edge was on my 10th birthday, my grandfather took me to see Tomorrow Never Dies. And that was it. This is who I want to be. I want everything that he has. I want the watch. I want the BMW. I want the girls. I want to be just like James Bond. And that movie really got a big push over in the United States. There were Heineken commercials. There were Visa card commercials, Omega television commercials, BMW commercials. So you really couldn't escape it. Pierce Brosnan was on every billboard and every subway car. It was great. What a wonderful time to become a Bond fan.
Yeah, he does make billboards and subway cars look good. All right, he's got quite the handsome vibe going on. We could just let you alone with Sean O'Hare for a half an hour just to talk about Tomorrow Never Dies. He's a massive Bros fan. So
So I'll talk to you later, lads. Kyle, so anyway,
you just line up the beers and we'll head off.
It's a great film to get stuck into for all of that Bond lifestyle, though. I mean, like so with you on that. It's my favorite Brosnan one as well. But I mean, Sean is our Brosnan expert. We have to defer to him on the whole picture.
Now, Kyle, since you are a Brosnan fan, we should let you into a little secret out of our first episode is going to be 30 years of GoldenEye, where we actually went to Navan, which is the town where Brosnan comes from. We got a little tour around that place from to just feel extra authentic in our celebrations of GoldenEye. So we'll let you know when that one comes out.
Have you seen the interview that he did? And the interviewer was also from Navan.
Yes,
and
he gets
just
quite
the
choked
way
up.
His voice changes when that's revealed. Is wonderful.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. So that's fantastic. So you're 10 years old going to Tomorrow Never Dies. That puts you in, like, I guess the kind of the GoldenEye generation, close to it. Is that fair to say, or are you even a bit young for
Very, very much so. The GoldenEye video game was certainly an early exposure to James Bond for me. In fact, I played the video game before I ever saw the film.
Wow.
So I saw Tomorrow Never Dies before I ever saw the film GoldenEye, and then went back, of course, and rented the tape and watched it, beat it to death.
I know. Well, I kind of know that feeling. I think we all have some. Well, back in my day, the VHS is definitely when they were like really thin after multiple watchings and rewindings, right? But like, you obviously went back and started learning about the other Bonds because first time I met you or that I remember you is just hearing this amazing Roger Moore impression, and I was thinking, who is this guy?
Well, you're pretty well known as the Sean Connery impersonator, so
well, we'll have to have a Roger/Sean off at some point.
Yes. Like Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon or something.
Yes. The Trip 007 edition. I think we could knock Brydon and Coogan out of the water, actually. But let's leave that for another day. So what got you into like the online stuff? What made you do the easy smiles and expensive watches?
Well, I guess around about 5 or 6 years ago now, I had been friends with David Zaritsky for some time, and I reached out to him and said, my professional background is in the beer industry. I would love to get together and do a video with you all about the beers of James Bond.
Nice.
And I went to his house. I brought a couple coolers full of beer, and we shot a 2-part video, The Beers of Bond. And afterwards he said, you come to all the events. You're friends with the people. You clearly have a passion for this. You've seen all the films, read all the books, wear all the clothes. Join the conversation. Get online a little bit more. Make yourself more of a figure, and really use your personality as the hook. So I did, and I went home that night. In fact, I think I might have done it right then and there. Created an Instagram account, borrowed a line from Casino Royale, which I love, and and just jumped in head first, and I haven't looked back since.
Zaritsky, he really is the Barbara Broccoli of the Bond community. He's very persuasive. I think it was probably he who helped me, edge me into this thing as well. And obviously John Lennon as well was quite. Between the two of them, I was like, I can't really say no here. I don't have an argument out of this,
Of course.
So that was great. In fact, I think we connected. This group started connecting because John, whom he reached out and he started asking people who were in Ireland to get involved and stuff, and he really wanted to be able to connect with people like yourself, with people like David in the broader Bond community, but we really didn't know anyone. So we decided, let's just get together here first and start reaching out. And before you knew it, exactly that kind of positive encouragement came along, and we really started getting why not just put it out there, have a go, see what it's like. What's your unique hook? What's your unique style? And that brings me on to something that the style that I liked that you have, but not just you, but you and the podcast that you're doing with Joe and Ray. This is you really have a kind of good banter together. Like, it's good fun listening to. And I think that was something that we tried to aspire to as well, is just make it fun to listen to. How did that come about? How did you get into that?
So I was a huge fan of Joe Darlington's podcasts, and he had a non-Bond movie podcast called Reviews Without Remorse. And after the pandemic and people went back to work and things, it kind of fell dormant. And then the partner that he originally did it with decided to step away from it. And just about 2 or 3 months ago, Joe reached out to me and to Ray Crumpold from the Bond Armory and said, I want to bring back Reviews Without Remorse. Are you guys interested in taking over as my new co-hosts? And it was like a no-brainer, because when I received that text at first, I thought like, oh, he's just telling me he's bringing it back. I can't wait to listen to it. And then the follow-up was asking me to be a part of it. I could not have been happier. I love talking movies with these guys. I'm a huge film buff, so it's been really fun so far. Happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it was some big shoes to step into. I mean, his mate Dave was good. They had great rapport together. But as you amusingly put it, you had to step into one of of Dave's shoes. Yeah, so
That's
that was
right.
quite
Yeah,
fun.
raising the
And how has it been? How have you found it? Are you enjoying it?
Very much so. And some of the films that that we've chosen to review are things that I normally wouldn't have watched on my own. In fact, just last night I watched Godzilla -1. So we'll be recording a review of that probably sometime this week, and you'll be able to look for it on all of your favorite podcast
Wherever you get your
platforms very soon.
podcast, wherever you get your Godzilla fan casts,
Exactly.
there you go. Yeah. Outstanding. Yeah,
Is there,
I mean,
is there any? Sorry, just is there any film that you're thinking you really like to get into in terms of reviews, remorse? What would the gold kind of film be that you'd love to start talking about?
I'm dying to do Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, because that was one of the big blockbusters that came out during the Reviews Without Remorse hiatus. So I think that is a no-brainer. I loved that film. Spoilers for a future review. There's lots of little Bond nods in it. In fact, I think it's Bondier than even some of the more recent Bond films themselves. So I'm really looking forward to talking about that one. We started it off with Dial of Destiny, because that was another one that Reviews Without Remorse missed during its hiatus, and I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, so it made sense to kick it off with that one.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm in the middle of that one right now. It's very good. And actually, you said at the start of that your other passions included film noir, and I think you got is it modern 70s Hollywood or something? I can't remember how you described it.
1970s New Hollywood, which is kind of like the pre-blockbuster movement. So films like Chinatown and The Conversation and some of those early Coppola films and early Woody Allen films. I love that era of film.
I'm totally with you on the Woody Allen ones. I love those. The early stuff is very good. Yeah. Actually, All the President's Men, is that what that's called? The one, is that the one with Robert De Niro, or not Robert De Niro? Sorry, Robert Redford. And Dustin Hoffman.
Great film.
What's it
Excellent
called?
film.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? That was on. I've just got back from Switzerland, and that was on the TV in Switzerland, and I was like, this is mental. They're speaking German, I can't. The voices in German is so weird, so I had to rely heavily on the subtitles. But it's such a brilliant film anyway. Really, really cool.
Yeah, stuff like that is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well then to anybody listening to this, definitely get on to Reviews Without Remorse, because the banter is great crack. They all know their stuff, and start listening to it. Now, there is one thing that we need to raise with you. You recently had a party with a bunch of Bond fans, which was great fun. And it was very nice. There was lots of pictures because you're a beer expert. We need to talk a little bit more about Bond and beer. But before we do that, we got some lovely updates on social media. We were like, oh, cheers, James Bond Club Ireland, because there was Guinness involved. And then we were...
Was it Guinness?
Some of the mad stuff that was going on. Tell us what violations you committed to our national drink.
So there is one of the things that's really great about Guinness.
Actually, sorry, I should say that the other stouts are available, because we have Murphy's and Beamish and other things as well.
That's
but yes,
true,
go ahead. It was Guinness.
Let's be real.
Let's be real. Yeah,
except no substitute. One of the really cool things about Guinness is, as you gentlemen I'm sure know, it is actually a light beer, both in terms of caloric content, in alcohol content, but also literally in weight. And you can float a Guinness on top of pretty much any other beer, which is a popular thing to do in American Irish pubs, the most popular combination being half and half, which is half a glass of Harp with Guinness floating on top of it. But there are other things like Black Velvet, a variation of Snakebite. Sometimes that's made with Harp. Sometimes it's made with Guinness floating on top of cider. Black and Blue with Guinness floating on top of Blue Moon is a popular drink.
Wow.
Got a little bit of feedback, though, from the Guinness purists that thou shalt not mix. So please, let's hear it.
Look, we are, a lot of us are just, we grow up in I went into a bar once, and I asked the friends around me, what would you like? I'll go get a round. And someone, cleverly said, I'll have a Guinness and blackcurrant. So they made me go up and ask for it. And the barman looked at me like I had just come in from space and didn't know what I was talking about. So
Get out.
people, it's a bit like saying, it's a bit like saying to the early Connery fans that you're a Moonraker fan. They're just like, that's like
blasphemy.
I am completely open to it.
I do want to ask though, just on that, because I'm in Cork and I will get into a lot of trouble if I don't ask this question, but why did you not go for Murphy's Irish Stout rather than Guinness? Just to throw that into the mix there.
That
have you heard of it before?
Professional decision. Guinness is one of the brands that I represent, so it's always Guinness where I try.
Well, okay, well, fair enough then. We can't rake you over the coals too much for that, I suppose.
Well, Kyle,
and everyone prefers Guinness anyway.
Well, yeah, there's another story.
There's rivalry between the two of them, and in the 90s they used to have a very funny. They used to have like competing adverts. One would try to outdo the other, and there was one advert that became very popular because it was very amusing. It was for Guinness, and it was a guy, and he did this really crazy dance, which was really funny. And the point was that he had poured the Guinness, and he was waiting for the Guinness to settle. And in that time, he was so impatient that he got very hyperactive and did this funny dance to funny Perez Praz Prado music, which was super, hyperactive, right? So this was going on as he was waiting. So Murphy's came out with a response to this ad, and it was this beautiful black and white cinematic landscape, right? And it looked like a scene from the Seventh Samurai, because all these Japanese samurais came riding down the mountain. We thought, wow, what's this? But it turns out that they were in West Cork, and they rode down the mountain and burst through the door of a pub in West Cork and marched up to the bar and went, Murphy's! And the woman just put the pint straight away in front of them. And their response was, Murphy's, instantly. So you had this nice tension between the waiting of the Guinness and the instant, but the cleverness of doing like a whole, a sort of homage to the Seventh Samurai was, I've never forgotten that. I was like, why do we not have ads like that anymore? But Kyle, I now got a challenge for you, right? Since you are the expert here, I actually have a can of Guinness and the worst possible glass to put it in, but I thought I had a Guinness glass and I don't. But I want you to school me on how to properly pour a Guinness, right? So if I open it now, this is, as you explained before, hydrogenated, correct?
Nitrogenated.
Did I say hydrogen? That's fat. What am I talking about? Nitrogenated. Go ahead. Right. Yes. So now, how do I do this?
Guinness is carbonated with nitrogen, what we call G mix, which is a mixture of nitrogen and carbon dioxide.
Right. So I just need to pour it in, right?
That's all you need to do with the can, because the cans have the little ball widget at the bottom that release the nitrogen. You don't have to do the 2-part pour with the Guinness cans like you would with Guinness on
tap. So I can just pour this right up to the top.
But make sure you let it finish cascading.
Meaning like that, which I did not know.
As soon as it's finished, then it's ready to drink.
Okay.
So it takes about 10
seconds.
Do you want to dance around there, Paul?
Yes, we'll do the dance.
Do you want to do the dance?
We should actually put a link to that dance and the Murphy's ad in the show notes.
You do your dance. I'll get my samurai outfit, and we'll.
Cheers, anyway. I should have told you I was going to do this, but so you could also have one. But I'm going to say cheers and.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, not bad. Drinking Guinness on a Tuesday night. At least I had an excuse anyway, thanks to Kyle.
Lovely. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, Kyle, the next thing I guess we have to talk about is this week's big news. What did you think about the big bombshell that was dropped by Eon Productions?
Well, I'm in the camp that is staying cautiously optimistic. I think that the Broccolis, after No Time to Die, it was pretty clear that they were done. Every indication pointed to Michael Wilson retiring the way he's been treated since 2020, and then with receiving the Irving Thalberg Award. I think I pronounced that correctly. It just seemed like he was moving towards retirement, and I think creatively Barbara Broccoli was tapped out after Daniel Craig stepped down from the role. So really came as no shock to me. I'm a little bit nervous that Bond might become commoditized the way that some of the other big IPs like Star Wars or Marvel or Batman even have become where we just get too much too quickly. But if they put the right person in charge of creative, I think this will be a really interesting time for James Bond. Whenever the future looks the most bleak for the James Bond films, that's when they give us A Spy Who Loved Me. That's when they give us a GoldenEye. That's when they give us a Casino Royale.
That's actually an excellent insight. I hadn't thought about that, but those films did come out of minor crises within the series, didn't they? That's a very good point.
So Bond 26 has to be a classic.
No pressure, Amazon. Yeah, so I mean,
pressure.
Yeah,
we've had some mixed responses here. I mean, what did you guys think?
I'm now getting more to the view of I'm optimistic, I think. And
Right.
I did like the way, Kyle, that when you did say that the films that saved the series, you didn't include the Dalton films, so I'm quite happy with that. So,
Watson. We need one of those buttons that they have in Thunderball where his seat explodes.
Here come the emails.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean, shut down the email access. Nobody can see anything.
They'll all come to me anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I agree. I'm definitely in the positive camp. Look, we were crying out for movement. We've got movement. It might have been the movement we were thinking it was going to happen, but I think, as we were chatting probably offline before, Barbara is handing over the family legacy, and she would have done that likely. So I'm hoping that there's enough groundwork in place that the franchise will be handed over to good hands. And I've been listening to like a number of podcasts over the last few days about it, and one of the big things is that Amazon has to get this right. They got to get the right people in, the creative people, and get moving. I think, Kev, as a point you'd said maybe in our group chat, Amazon have to get this right. There's a lot riding on it, and the one thing they got to get right before they worry about the whole big thing called content, they got to get a film out and they got to get it right. So I'm positive. I'm hoping that we might hear news coming up over the next month or two about what Amazon's direction is going to be, but front and center is going to be a new movie. So look, who knows? We could be getting a movie sooner rather than later. So I'm definitely positive.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been saying a lot, which is the pressure is on Amazon now to get this right. They do not. I don't think after spending the amount of money that they have reportedly said they've spent on this, want to balls it up and end up with something that people are just going, well, Amazon can't do franchises, can't do Bond, and we're all looking at it. They have to get it right. And as Kyle said, these great movies come out of these times of change and this kind of sense of, my goodness, are they going to be able to, do it again? And it all depends on who they've got. They've got loads of talent that we know. You've got Eon connections they could leverage. You've got people who work in this business who know far more about it than I do. And I'm sure that can help them. And I think if they get a film out and get a lot of momentum, and who knows, maybe a modern day version of Tomorrow Never Dies in terms of marketing, in terms of promotion, in terms of actor, in terms of everything they do and build up the hype, they could secure the future of the franchise for years. And if they want to then go off, and I'm a little bit of I don't mind if they go a little bit off road and maybe try a few experiments, but they don't kind of dilute the main brand too much. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah. I think we might see some interesting things coming out of it. But I think, like many, there's a little bit of wariness, a little bit of optimism, but at least we're going to see something to happen now. And,
well, I think there's been a lot of kicking off against it, and I'm like, keep your powder dry here. No, there's been all we've had so far is, which causes a little bit of worry for me, is that sort of leaked information about the argument that Barbara had with Eon. Right now, how much of that is truth and how much isn't, we don't know. I think we suspect there probably was some tension, right? So. That means I'm not sure. I don't know what she tapped out after Daniel Craig. She certainly invested a lot in that relationship and in that series. So I can understand maybe it was a struggle to get started again. But she seems to have had strong opinions, and she seems to have been standing by those. And I really appreciated that. But on the other hand, we don't have a lot of messaging from Amazon on their intention, right? We do have from Eon that, you know, they're stepping back and they've given their reasons, and they've said that their trusted partners are Amazon. But we haven't had any message from Amazon as to what they intend to do. Are we going to get a film straight out of the gate? Is that going to be the first thing we're going to get? Are they going to look to do more than one thing? Are they going to, what kind of relationship are they going to have with the fans? What's that going to look like? And I think we don't know much about the creatives involved as well, but we do know that they've had it since, I think, 2022 now. Is that right? They've had MGM. And I know that, you know, after investing 8 billion plus a further 1 billion to sweeten Michael and Barbara, I wouldn't be sitting around for 3 years waiting for something to happen. I'd be building, trying to get an infrastructure in place so that I could get a return on my investment. But we don't know what's been happening. We don't know whether they're getting creative teams in place, whether they're building, you know, studio space to accommodate a Bond film. We don't know what's happening. And until we do, I think it's a bit nerve-wracking for fans, but it's also potentially, you know, this could be the unlock to the resources and the finances that MGM have needed. This could be a real, you know, a really exciting prospect. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, going, hoping, wow, maybe we could be off to you know, a good start. But we definitely need to have the right creatives in place.
But if it happens quite quickly, as we all hope it does, it potentially reopens the door to some of the guys that we thought may have been too old by the time they got round to making a new film.
Do you mean you, Andy? Come on, you don't even have acting experience.
Well, I do all right.
Very good.
Even not necessarily would be my choice as such, but the likes of Henry Cavill, who's 41,
yeah,
if he had to now commit to 10 years, I'm sure he'd still look fairly decent at 51.
I think 40-year-olds these days are better looking than they used to be. All right, yeah.
Well, we try, you know.
Nice. I see what you've done there, Andy. Yeah,
but it's also
perennial 39-year-olds.
I'm just saying as well, is it also a massive opportunity for younger fans, or getting younger people into Bond, because the films have always been the avenue how everybody gets into them. Like, I know, probably Kyle yourself, like, I get into Bond through the GoldenEye game. Like, that has all changed, but games are still really popular. So who knows what Amazon could be looking into? There could be the games, we talked already about animated series. Like, there could be a whole new fan base there that haven't even been tapped into yet, that I think the Bond series has missed over the last maybe 5-10 years in a roundabout way, because anywhere you look, you have your Marvels, your Star Wars. Yes, they're saying the likes of Star Wars has been even played to death, but I know my young two got into Star Wars through the Lego game, and they love Star Wars now, probably more than they love Bond. And like, imagine if we had I think we chatted about this before, but maybe the possibility of like a Lego James Bond game and get the whole new fan base in there. So there's big opportunities there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
There seems to have been a pivot away from that type of marketing in the Daniel Craig era, particularly with Skyfall moving forward. I'm hoping that they move a little bit back towards marketing to a broader audience and shifting their focus a little bit back towards the United States and Western Europe.
I think we have a few months to wait as well, I think, because I think from the agreement, it could be May. It's got to go through regulatory checks and so forth. So we might still have to wait a couple of weeks, but you'd expect that between now and then, when that deal is finally, when the ink is drying on the contract, that suddenly there's an announcement of something to come. So this could be the year.
Maybe.
This could be the year.
Let's hope.
When I was looking at the two who head up the Amazon MGM, the two key figures, it's like Jennifer Salke, who seems to be the creative head, and then this guy, Mike Hopkins, who runs the studio overall. And he seems to be focused on selling a lot of deals to get add-ons and stuff like that. So increasing subscription base. And they're really like pitching just increasing the amount of subscribers that they have, right? To get a lot of people in. So nothing about commitment to creativity, which is, you know, a little bit worrying. But on the other hand, if they want to get as many different people in, as many, you know, presumably that means young people, presumably that means different markets, presumably it means intense, deeper into some markets and broader into others. I don't know. We don't have really an understanding of what they're doing, but assuming that they are going to try and get like that a little bit of that youth market back, that would be quite cool if they started doing, instead of very expensive backgammon sets. And I don't mean to shit all over the 007 store. Again, I know that already, but at a point, it's like, there's no teenagers or kids in their 20s going, I can't wait for the next James Bond film. Like, it's just not there,
It's true. It's where we've reached a point where people are saying like, oh, James Bond, that's the guy my dad likes, or even worse, James Bond, that's the guy my granddad likes. And that's not a healthy place for the franchise to be.
No.
I know. Myself and Andy are, keep getting that thing. People go, James Bond fans. Yeah, it's always kind of men of a certain age. And I was like, yeah, but it's not like that. Oh, wait, it is. Yeah, it's me and Andy.
But there are that age. Women.
Yeah.
There are a lot more women getting into Bond than ever before. They're a lot more vocal about it. But there aren't a lot of younger people getting involved in Bond yet.
Yeah. That's going to change. That's going to change, isn't it?
It must.
Hopefully.
It must. So what would you, Kyle, I guess a film is your first thing, but like you've got absolutely no holds barred, no restrictions. What would be the thing you'd like to see from Amazon related to Bond that you haven't seen from Eon?
I think that they should tap into some of the continuation novels. There's a whole stack of great Bond stories out there. A James Bond book club I belong to just finished reading the Raymond Benson Union trilogy, which I think would be a great way to introduce a new actor in the part. They'd have to modernize it a little bit. It is a little late 90s centric, but the adaptation wouldn't take too much work to bring it into the 21st century. I think kick it off with a 3-film series adapting the Union trilogy. That's where I would go.
Wow. That's a great idea. We need to add one of that trilogy actually to our M's Library editions.
Yes.
Writing it down now. Writing it down. No, there we go. It's down. Next to the Guinness Crimes, it's going down.
And Kyle, another question. You're obviously, I know you like your watches and you like some of the lifestyle thing. What would you like to see continued, maybe refreshed in the next Bond?
The partnership with Omega and the partnership with Aston Martin, I think, should remain. Bollinger, I think, should definitely remain. That partnership goes back to Roger Moore.
Hey, Kyle, if that happens, the next time we meet, we're going to have a black velvet with a Guinness and a Bollinger together.
That sounds delicious. I'm all for that. And that kind of brings me to my next point. I'm of two minds when it comes to the beer. I can make the argument for Heineken being the James Bond beer brand because it is a global brand. It's a luxury brand. You can find it anywhere in the world, and whether you're drinking it in Africa, China, or South America, it tastes exactly the same. However, I can make the argument against Heineken being the Bond beer brand because James Bond always drinks the local thing.
Right.
James Bond in Kentucky drinks bourbon. In Cuba, he drinks mojitos. So when he's in Italy, he should be drinking Peroni. Just something like that. I sell beer for a living, so I could kind of do either argument for Heineken or against Heineken.
Wow. That's great. Didn't he drink a Löwenbräu in Germany or something? Wasn't that the one from the Living Daylights?
Yes, in the Living Daylights short story and in the novel On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Also, very good. Okay. Yes, I've picked that out of a few fridges deliberately just because of the Bond reference. It's very cool. I love the way he does that, though. I love the way he goes local. That's brilliant.
Yeah, James Bond is a global guy, so he would know what to drink where.
Yeah. Agreed. That's really cool. Can I ask you what watch you're wearing today? Because I saw a slot. I think it might have been an Omega.
I've got the Tomorrow Never Dies on through Die Another Day, Brosnan Seamaster on today. So I've been wearing this the last 4 or 5 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sean, are you wearing your Seamaster today?
No, I'm wearing my Omega Watch this evening. So I am. Yeah, just something. The everyday watch, as I would call it. Yeah.
The everyday watch. Yeah.
Nice.
No, it is great, isn't it? Something nice about a watch. I have I see the casino one here.
Very good.
The Planet Ocean, which I still love wearing, even though it is gigantic. It's
It's
big
huge.
mofo on the wrist. Yeah.
That's some serious real estate. I just picked that one up last summer, actually.
Seen that, yeah.
Did you? You got it. Okay. Oh,
I
brilliant.
did.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you start with one of these things and you go, that's brilliant. I'll never need another watch. And then a year later you're going, there is, though, the other watch that I like.
Once you start, you can't stop. It's
Oh
like
my God. Like Pringles. It's much more expensive than Omega.
That's true.
The Pringles of watches. Yeah. It's like, I love those lines, those inadvertent lines. Like we were at the Cue the Music show, and in the middle of like speaking to David Zaritsky in front of the whole crowd, Warren Ringham was so impressed with the suit that he'd had tailored, especially by Anthony Sinclair. It's fabulous. He says, it's really great. It looks so great, but it feels so comfortable. It's like wearing a tracksuit. Anthony Sinclair, the tracksuits of tuxedos. So I'm not sure if it was the tagline he needed, but everyone was like, yeah, I know what you mean, man.
The best advertising is organic.
It sure is. Yeah. So listen, Kyle, it's so much fun talking to you. What are your plans for 2025 in terms of what are you going to be doing? You're going to be doing more podcast episodes? You're going to be doing more stuff in the Bond community? You're going to be traveling? What are you up to?
Pretty much all of the above. There will be an episode of Reviews Without Remorse. We want to hit once a week. If it's every other week, that might happen just when things get a little bit more busy. But right now we're on a every Thursday new episode schedule, which is great. I don't have any travel booked yet, but I'm eyeballing a few ideas. There's some whispering about some GoldenEye anniversary trips. There's some whispering about some Spectre anniversary trips. There's even some whisperings about View to a Kill anniversary trips. So chances are I will be traveling to some Bond locations somewhere this year. I know I have to go to Las Vegas for work, and that's a Bond location, so that counts.
Yeah, it's a pity. Yeah, it's a tough job, huh? But someone has to do that, right? Are you going to meet what's his name? Mr. Omega watches there. I keep forgetting his name.
Oh, Lorenzo. Yes,
Lorenzo. Yeah,
he and I are very close friends. So that's unfortunately I have to be in Las Vegas the same weekend as the Cue the Music concert this year, so I won't be able to attend that.
That's pity.
The silver lining is I can hang out and spend a weekend with Lorenzo, and he'll probably make me spend money that I don't.
I was going to say you might come back with one wrist heavier than it was on the way in.
Yeah, he's very good at getting me to part with a buck.
Yeah. Yes, that's a dangerous guy, but seems like a very nice guy as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, for us, we've got some screenings coming up. No glamorous locations. Navan is a nice town, but I don't think it would make it onto a Bond list of glamour locations. But we are going to the.
What's more glamorous than University College Dublin?
Well, that's yeah. We're going to have to work on our marketing for that one, Andy. Yeah, but it's actually nice. It's nice to be able to get together in Ireland. That was one of the key things for getting this group together. Was like we all felt like the only Bond fan in the village, so it was really nice to start meeting up with others. You know, because you guys are really great with that. You. Where is it that you're based, actually, Kyle?
So I live on Long Island, which is suburbs of New York City, and there is a high concentration of James Bond fans in the northeastern United States. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, for some reason, seems to have a lot of Bond people, but we have Bond people everywhere.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's excellent. So look, was it the last time you traveled was for the Operation Solex in November? Was that the last time you were in the UK?
Yes, that was the last time I was in the UK.
Okay. Well, look, we are going to formally extend you an invitation to come to Ireland at some point. The next time I make it to stateside, I need to catch up with so many people I keep missing when I'm over there. So you're one of them. I'll have to meet, David in his home turf, Joe. I've never met Matt Spacer. I'd love to meet him as well. So we're going to have to find an excuse to travel stateside, lads.
Definitely. You're always welcome over here. There's plenty of Irish pubs in New York City.
Yeah.
We'll not get lost.
You can't swing a cat without hitting an Irish pub.
Perfect. So we have a perfect tour guide. We got all these great pubs to go to, lots of things to sample. I don't think we need an excuse, to be honest, lads. I think we should just go now.
Just need a cat to swing.
Just now.
So do you guys have anything else for Kyle?
No, just yeah. Go ahead, Cap.
Sorry, I want to know, because like I'm getting the watch bug is biting a bit. What's the next one? What's the next one you got your eye?
That's what he's thinking too.
Yeah, sorry. Sean, there you go, Sean.
I'm trying to make it through 2025 without buying a watch.
Well,
However,
stay away from Vegas.
Exactly, stay away from Vegas. However, I've had a couple of phone calls and a few opportunities to get the 60th anniversary of James Bond Omega. I don't have that yet.
Yeah,
it is on my shopping list. I'll get there eventually, I'm sure. I'm trying to save a little bit of money, but at the same time, I hear the sirens call.
There's the good angel and the bad angel.
Exactly. We all know
mortgage redecoration, but I'm a beautiful watch. Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with this dilemma.
You're in very good company in terms of that, and we might get a therapy group. We might need to get a therapy group going, guys, for this. Actually,
I know.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we need someone else other than us. Yeah.
We'll end up banning all
each other. You should get it. No, it looks so good on you. Look at how good that looks. Yep, it wouldn't work.
That's called enabling. That's not called therapy.
That's the point, isn't it?
You don't need that new car.
Yeah.
Unless it's an Aston Martin.
A new boiler for the house? No, you don't need that.
If you want to stay warm, do some jumping jacks. You know, go and get
buy an NPL sweater.
Or buy an NPL sweater, even better. Don't mind your jumping jacks. Right. Kyle, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. You're going to be our third episode once we figure out how to edit and distribute these. And we really, really appreciate it. I can't wait to see you again at whatever event that we connect with next time.
It's been a pleasure. We won't be strangers.
No, don't. Stay in touch. Shoot the breeze. It's great fun. And we really appreciate it. Thanks, Kyle.
Brilliant, Kyle. Lovely to meet you. Lovely.
Thanks, Kyle.